On January 13th, Congress was set to vote on whether George had the right to use arms in the Persian Gulf to back up the United Nations resolutions that had been passed against Hussein's aggression. There were many senators and representatives who wanted to usurp the powers of the president as commander in chief. But then what happens? Well, they go to Camp David. And so Barbara has to write this letter. I jumped on the saucer and was the first down. During the night, there had been a little thaw and then a big freeze. The hill had become thick ice, and the ride was so different. I went spinning around and around so fast that I can still feel the fear that I felt. I knew that I should fall off, but I just could not seem to let go. Luckily, I hit a tree with both my legs and not my head, which might easily have happened. I was shaky, but not hurt. I felt George had just come out on Aspen Terrace and was yelling, "Bail out! Bail out!" And he and the agents rushed down that slippery hill. I said I could walk up, but was quickly forced to lie on a toboggan, and they pulled me up. That feeling of being out of control is the worst. The doctor insisted that I go to Hagerstown and be x-rayed. As Betsy and I were leaving in the ambulance, we saw George, Arnold, Spike, and Maria, and all the grandchildren sleighing. They were smart enough to bail out. The x-rays showed that I had a thin fracture on the fibula. Minor, but a bore. Poor Arnold. For weeks afterward, I claimed in my speeches that the last thing I heard before crashing was Arnold yelling, "Break a leg." And therefore, I was never going to invite an actor for the weekend again. January 16th. That's 3 days. 3 days after the vote by Congress. January 16th. For the last 12 hours, I have known something so dreadful that I can't even imagine it. I have the feeling that I'd like to go to bed and pull the covers over my head and stay there for 6 weeks, and then peek out and see if it is all over. If it isn't, I'd like to crawl under again. The day had a dreamlike quality. George told me last night that they decided that it would start tonight. God knows, they have given Saddam every chance. Maybe they thought that if they robbed her of her purse, that they could control, that they would be the ones to call the shots. What do? Do you just eliminate her altogether? Bad idea. Very, very bad idea.